Welcome back everyone to another Fight Tuesday. Here we got something different. We got 3 versus 3. And we're just gonna go through and start this game, and then we'll have I'll just introduce everyone's names. So right here on the allies we do have myself, These Nuts, or Moon Rider, and Storm Blob. We also have on the Axis front we have the Cannonball, Noitide, and we have Rift Gary. They are all playing as OST, and 2 US forces and 1 British. Alright, let's get this game going. So we're gonna see Axis moving in, trying to take those positions. For this map, I believe that the controlling the train house is actually a primary objective. Covers a large portion of the area in which the bottom spawning players are gonna have to encounter and get rid of. However, if you are the bottom starting player and they do lose the house, you can always take the secondary objectives, which are these houses right here. These houses will slow down the Axis advance and will ultimately cut their reinforcements off. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm moving my troops into this building, cut them off, force them to re-secure one of these two buildings. They are moving all the way to the train house, re-secure that location. This is also a primary house that can be taken. It's very important that you do so earlier on. It cuts off the top player and the reinforcements that come through this narrow road right here. So Cannonball's going to be forced to retreat. He is getting cut down by the Tommies and the Vickers. There's just way too much fire and the MG can't lay down enough volume of fire. I am holding this building. They are trying to shoot me out, and I do go for a mortar team, I believe. Yes. In this case, in this map, there is a ton of buildings. I do need the early mortar. In most cases, I won't go for the early mortar as the US forces. I think it's not necessary. MG is re-securing this location, is putting down vines of fire. 2 MG start from Cannonball, and a 3 grand start for Noitide. Rift Gary is going for the standard build with the motor team. He is slowing down the Moon Riders' onslaught of riflemen, cutting off their reinforcements to the middle. British troops have secured the train house, moving in quite fast. Figures are gonna have to be forced to retreat soon. You won't be able to stay around. Tommy's on the field. See everyone's tech. Platoon command post is out. And we do not have any upgrades yet. We have Lieutenant for myself. MindfulRaptors has Team Lieutenant out pretty soon. A lot of concentration on top, trying to secure that location and push southward. One player does always have to be on whoever spawns on the top side must hold this area right here. It's very important that they do so. Funneling all units into this area, this narrow street in the top side, is not as useful, just because the amount of resources that you gain from fighting over these territories are very minimum. Now Tommies are in the building. They do have the upgrade or the defensive bonus. They're going to be putting a lot of volume of fire. There is no windows on this edge, so this house does get 2 shots off on them. Mortar pit is out on the field.
The ability is ready now.
They're pushing southward, pushing straight in. I have to relocate most of my units as a result. Axis mold teams are moving in. Double molders for the Rift Gary. Rift Gary is holding a lot of motor teams. 2 motor teams. 1 Gren. Now a lot of people do have a problem with the motor teams for the OSD. It is quite potent. 1 loss of a engineer here, Pile being lost here. German motors are quite potent, but they are limited by they need bodies to be able to block them. Without having proper units to block them, they can get pressured very easily. Blue Rider does make a push into this top side right here. MG is looking down multiple areas of the road and securing a very hard front. Large amounts of mortar presence is on the field. Now we do have a pit on the field, but there is a mortar half-track that is going to put down pressure. I believe it is the... No, it's actually the incendiary bombs that they fired, actually. Interesting enough. Half-track, motor half-track is on the field. It is an excellent counter against the pit. The pit is unable to really pressure the motor half-track because of its mobility. Large motor front, indirect fire front from the axis. Very difficult to really pressure that. Got a half-track, flame half-track coming down the main road. It does get snared, but no one really there to follow up, so it's gonna get away, unfortunately. Pit is getting pressured pretty hard. Too many mortar teams and 2 half-tracks alongside with a 2-2. Great start for the Axis players. It does go down, unfortunately. Motor teams did get it, actually, which was a really unfortunate loss. 2-2 is coming in for the pressure. Suspecting that there's no real units to block its entrance. It has a free reign in destroying the pit. Pit does go down. Allies having a hard start. Stormblood does lose 400 manpower for that pit. Half-track for myself. It's going to be a great counter against those motor teams. But double half-tracks is pretty difficult for them to deal with for the allies. Continuous onslaught on the top side. Trying to re-secure top. Motor teams for the Axis players are being relocated. Extremely potent front for the... very effective front, actually, for the Axis. Large indirect fire presence. The allies are a little lacking on that front, but they do have AT guns that will be able to block. Motor half-track is putting rounds down range. Getting some connection shots. Now motor half-tracks and the motor teams for the Axis are only good as much as the units that can push and block the lanes. If there's no units to block the lanes, then they will get punished. Small engagements in middle and top. Strong defensive perimeter around this crossroad here. Half-track is being rounds down range and keeping back most of the strong building points that the Axis are holding onto. Pressures them and keeps them from relocating. Reoccupying these areas. It punishes them for staying, actually. Vickers is in the house. 6 pounds on the field, blocking the front. So those half-tracks do have to be a little careful. but at least 4 mortar teams are on the field. 2 in half-tracks and 2 regular mole teams from 2 different players are out on the field. They are laying down tons of fire and are causing most of our units to fall back. Of course, we do have the high volume of infantry presence on the field, and because of their lack of units, Grens and MG's positions, they are forced to retreat. Moab bazookas are going to get the last shot. Yes, the rifle grenade does get the last shot off of that 222. 222 does go down. 2 half-tracks still on the field, and we have 3 molder teams now on the field. This is laying volumes of fire down on the field. Stewards on the field for Moon Rider. Axis do not have any potential AT anti-vehicles, so they will get punished by that Stewart. Commandos are on the field. Piats going to be looking for killing those half-tracks. Campbell does have a pack on the field. It is looking down on the middle area, but with the Stewart running around on top, it's going to be a little difficult for them to deal with that Stewart to control that top area. They're looking to pressure and to pretty much create a shaken foundation for the Allies. 50s are looking downrange, suppressing those units. After it does get a couple shot off on the 50, and the 50 does go down, unfortunately. It's gonna have to run through those flame areas and it's gonna die. Oh, well, unfortunate loss. Mortar teams are retreating because of the Steward's presence. Large pile presence, which is really interesting. They are all gonna get suppressed by the 50. They are being surrounded, so they're forced to make a scurrious retreat. MG positions and packs are positioned on bottom, and they're holding on them.
A peg gun is ready for orders.
That house is very close to going down. If they stay in there, they will be killed. More teams are putting tons of Valiant Fire. He is skipping tier 4 and going straight into the last tier. Going to tier 5. Looking to get broom bars or potential other types of units.
Foes are behind our lines. Headquarters attacked.
Looks like a very organized Axis team actually. However, they are lacking a lot of Gren support. They are not able to really deal with the amount of riflemen on the field. No matter how many mortar teams you have, if you are not able to control the field by pushing the lanes, you're not really going to get very far. Mortar pit is actually made again, in addition to possibly majors on the field pretty soon, I believe. Yes, I am getting a major, and we have the Crom coming up on the field as well. Triple flamethrowers for Cannonball here. Looking to flame everyone with a splash. But with the double 30s, they are not going to be able to make it out. Loses one of the piles. Steals the motor, actually, and he's moving in. So he now Axis even have greater amounts of mortar teams.
Cromwell gun tank ready for action.
Great defensive perimeter around this crossroads right here. Mortar teams are playing round downrange and kind of punishing these defensible positions that they're holding onto. 250s are looking downrange, cutting this road and cutting the middle. So this area right here is protected from any type of ground support aggression. Flag's on the field.
Crews are ready to carry out emergency vehicle repairs.
Black Panther is on the field, but it is gonna be pushed off by a rifle grenade and potentially a Stewart, I guess. Crom is on the field. He's also being shot by the pack. He's forced to make a retreat back. Tons of mortars are being shed on the field, with about 4 mortar teams for the Axis. But we have an equal amount of mortars because of the pit. The pit is giving us actually 5 different mortar teams, putting rounds down range. Crom is has to make a immediate retreat after being found by the pack. 2 pits are up now, so we do have a lot of indirect fire units going back and forth now. In fact, we have 6. We have 5. Actually, we have 5 motor teams here, right here. 2 half tracks and 3 motor teams, with Panzerwerfer in the back. So we do have a lot of indirect fire units here. The motor half track does almost go down, unfortunately. Black Panther is on the field and is still looking down. Not too many attacking, but we have P4s coming out. And potentially more infantry units, I guess. Sherman's on the field for myself. I am moving in with the Sherman. Continuously pressuring this area so that the motor teams cannot stay. This causes them to have to make a repeated retreat. Puts a lot of pressure on the south side. P4 is on the field and there is 2 57s looking down, so the P4 is not going to get very far. Did lose that unit, unfortunately. The rifleman does go down with a double bar. Sherman is trying to pressure this bunker, but it's being forced off by the pack. Pack gets 3 shots off, I believe. Leaving it about 25 health. P4 is going for the kill, and he does get it off. Sherman does go down, unfortunately. So great pickup and great start so far for the Axis. Axis is pushing pretty hard, making progress, but they are slightly falling behind due to the lack of actual infantry to push the riflemen off. The vehicles can go so far. One person has purely gone indirect fire units and is trying to place rounds down range, but his lack of presence on the field makes it difficult for them to move in. Axes are kind of static and they need answers to this kind of constant pressure from all the riflemen running around the field. In addition to the amount of motor teams that are placed on the field, which includes the half track, I believe, as well. Priest is on the field now, so we do have a heavier indirect fire unit that will put a lot of pressure on them. Somehow I did miss a 3 wipe, probably a 105 shell that went off. Did lose all 3 motors, which is a huge loss. Panther is on the field. This will create a good answer against all these Croms and possibly the Stewart turret may go down here. If he does, he actually misses it. He's going for the Crom. Crom does step on the frickin' mine, and he gets shot by the Panther, so the Panther does get off that shot. Panther's looking for the one more shot. Does not go out for it. Misses. He's gonna have to move forward now. He's in a little weird tight spot and he might get snared here. I've relocated all my men to pressuring bottom and trying to open up this bottom area so that they are gonna be squeezed into a pocket, which results in them holding this area right here. Because we have such a strong front here, we don't need to have so many people crowding this area right here. They are being pressured. They do only have the bunker that really keeps them out. Mortar half track is putting down range. That's 3, so it is getting the actual bonuses as well as the maximum observation. Black Panther is still there and with the Stug watching over. A larger amounts of infantry presence for allies right now. Do have 2 mortar half tracks here. Still putting down rounds down range. The 105 priest is putting rounds down range. We have 2 actually. 2 priests for Moo Rider, and we have 1 priest for myself. So we have 3 105 rounds going down range. Especially hitting this part right here. Oh, that's not a good hit. That hurts. Now they're really forced into a pocket now with the lack of infantry support to be able to push the lanes. They have a lot of indirect fire units, but they don't have the options to be able to put their indirect fire units up front. Land Mattress is putting down missiles, rockets downrange, and it's wiped the pack, which is a really important unit to keep the Crom out. Or the Sherman. They are losing a lot of their indirect fire units, and this is why lack of Grens who are able to keep them out. That's why these crews are being punished. Double bazookas are putting that flag pretty low. Stug is looking for a kill and does get 2 Stugs to fire. We do have a captured pack 40 here. Rev Gary is holding in a pocket right here. His building is about to go down with the 105s putting enough pressure on him. It's only Stugs left on the field pretty much. Isn't enough units on the field to really push these lanes. A lot of MGs and motor teams are static around the field, but are being punished now by the priests. Priests are putting down range, rounds down range, all around their back lines. 10.5 centimeters are being built. Last ditch efforts, I suppose.
Rounds complete. Breach clear. What the hell am I meant to do with these? Green is green can be. Well, grab your shit and follow me. 90-day wonder. Crowd after volley. A capture point is under attack.
10.5 is being built and is almost ready. This does create a answer to the priest. However, it really requires that you have units to be able to block for it.
has been destroyed. Incoming! Raptor! Retreat!
10.5 is firing his rounds down. Looking for kills. Let's see.
Fire on that AT!
See where it's hitting. Hitting this area right here. Looking to kill the pit, I believe. Or pressure strong points. Crom is being uncontested here. He's been putting rounds in middle.
They're at 200 points.
200 points for Axis. Ooh, double, triple flames actually just instantly killed the MMG in the building. Large pression across the entire lanes. I believe that Rift Gary is cut to pretty much only his motor teams. The 10.5s are putting down rounds down range, trying to punish the static play that the allies are holding right now. It is working. It is killing off a couple units here. Ooh, Stug does go down with the double 57s. And his Stug goes down, unfortunately. And this seems like the end for the Axis. The Priest pressuring the 10.5s. They won't be able to lay down too much fire. Oh, go down. Yeah, they're still up on the field. I'm not sure if the other one was crushed. A lot of vehicles were being.
Our brave infantry is dying.
So we have a total of 3 priests and 2 mortar pits. Literally a match of indirect fire. Every player has invested in some type of indirect fire unit in large numbers. But this map really requires it because the sensor is kind of narrow and small. You can really pressure using indirect fire units. They are forced to make a scurrious retreat back, being forced off by so many riflemen and just units in general. Their backlines are being pressured by indirect fire units, so they aren't going to be able to hold for very long.
They have only 75 points remaining. Enemy is flanking!
What if I just go off right there, and I think it's going to kill them, actually. But that is the end of the match. I guess the allies had to fight fire with fire in speaking. In a matter of speech. Just because of the amount of indirect fire units that the Axis were investing in. And this kind of shows that you can't really just rely on a mortar indirect fire front to really push and win you the games. You need to have a combined arms effort. There has to be always units on the lanes to be able to keep them out. But thank you guys for watching this Fight Tuesday. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to follow the channel, subscribe, rate, and comment. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.